It's time for the dailies. Let's let you know what's happening out there when you pick up a newsprint. With me, of course, I have Titi in Aquamarine. You are welcome once again.
Thank you.
So we have a couple of papers we're going to be going through this morning. Thank you for joining. I'm going to be starting with the Punch newspaper. So big headline here, Plateau governor's removal. APC PDP clash as appeal court sacks third opposition governor. Court orders INEC to retrieve PDP certificate of return. Lalong hails judgment. Ruling party using judiciary to intimidate, silence opposition, says the PDP, LP, and NNPP. I want to pick that up on the Punch. At the top of the Punch newspaper, these headlines here. Service extension, FGOs, 600 teachers, 23 months arrears. And inflation jumps 24 times in 25 months, say report. I don't miss presidency much, says Buhari. And the photo story here of the Israeli-Hamas situation, UN-US condemns school attack, deaths hit 14,000. Very sad. One there on page 28. Adeleke backtracks on acting CJ, APC knocks government, and the panel indicts OAUTH ex-CMD of massive job racketeering. That's what you have for the Punch newspaper when you pick one up this morning.
So top right, that headline, I don't miss presidency much, says Buhari. It just sounds, I'm wondering who was having this conversation and what sort of, what led to them asking this question. Because when you think about past presidents and what they do immediately after they leave office, you know, some of them, you know, they go write books, some of them go invest in their business.
Some of them are still active.
Some of them are
politics.
still active, yes. Some of them go teach, lecture in, you know, schools abroad and stuff like that. So it makes you wonder what exactly he's up to right now. So that's the story I would say jumps out. But inflation, let's talk a little bit about inflation.
Yes, 24 times in 25 months. That's alarming.
Alarming.
I think at present we're still at 25% inflation, or was it 27 as at last week? But the rate at which it's increasing exponential at this point, because we've experienced inflation from the 80s up until now. But at over 25% currently, it was the biggest jump, I think, from, I can't remember the indices exactly, but it's being told that this is the biggest that we've ever experienced it. And of course, you can see it. You go to the market, especially with food inflation currently.
But we should note that inflation is jumping all over the world. It's not just in Nigeria, and a lot of what happens in countries in the West, the UK, the US, affects a lot of the activities that happen here. So,
what headlines do you have from what paper?
Let me see what I have here. I have the Nigerian Tribune. We have the Nigerian Tribune here on this headline: persistent inflation, dollarization of economy, disturbing. That's the Nigerian Tribune. We have at the top left there, it says, by next year, Nigeria should be producing enough fuel for domestic consumption, according to presidency. PDP members protest as appeal court sacks Governor Mofwang, declares APC winner in Plateau. It's a temporary setback, he says. Capital market has absorptive capacity to fund infrastructure. Ashan chairman speaking there. Lagos is open for business, according to Sanwo-Olu. Page 22 has more on that. Chief Justice of Nigeria to inaugurate 58 new SANs, November 27th, as Supreme Court marks new legal year. And the photo story there shows President Bola Tinubu arriving Berlin, Germany on Sunday for the G20 Compact with Africa conference at the country's investment summit.
Well, I think for me the big one would be that come next year we might be exporting petrol to other countries. I think this would be in line with the Sell Nigeria, or rather Buy Nigeria policy that we're trying to encourage. I just hope that it happens. With all the, and then there was another headline regarding the destruction of illegal crude refineries and everything. So you see that we still actually have these little problems, these niggling problems. You know, if you put that against what we're hoping to happen, I don't know how we're going to get there so fast. We were promised that we were going to have refineries online at this time already, but we're still waiting for them to actually get out their first barrel. So it's already what, December. Next year is
So,
only 12 months long.
definitely-
Where's the starting point?
Definitely a lot more questions than answers as of right now, but I would like to be optimistic on this.
I believe in being
Yeah.
optimistic,
Yeah.
but I also believe in being informed. Details. Details.
All right.
Next paper here, the Vanguard newspaper. Big headline, Supreme Court rumble in judiciary over nomination of justices. Names of the FJSCs list excellent, says Professor Akinsey George San. And no cause for alarm, says the NJC and the CJN. At the top for the Vanguard, State of the Nation, what Tinubu will force us to do, by Bode George. And Plato Appeal Court sacks Governor Mutfwang, declares Goshwe a winner, and Rex appointment, Serap budget, others sue Tinubu. At the bottom of the page, inflation, declining demands triggers 20% fall in food, beverage production, and that is alarming. With everything that we have to go, that we have to endure, we have to also still continue producing, but with every other instance, rise in cost of fuel, lack of roads, or that you would expect that production would be in some way affected, and often negatively.
Of course.
But we're hoping that it doesn't get too bad before we see the light at the end of the tunnel. Very long tunnel. What's your paper?
We have the Blueprint newspaper also with us. And it says here, let me see, it says here, after Zamfara Kano verdicts, appeal court sacks Plateau governor. Mutfwang heads to Supreme Court, says judgment temporary setback. Jubilation in APC camp, and police warn. Page 6 has more on that. It also says here, First Bank rewards customers with 170 million naira worth of prizes. Federal government set to release 4,068 inmates nationwide. Page 14 has more on that. No student will be deprived of education on account of poverty, says Tinubu. What else do we have here? It says here, petrol price to fall as NNPCL imports massively. And I never appointed Oshun acting Chief Justice. Adeleke writes, Chief Justice of Nigeria and NJC. Magu breaks silence, says corruption Nigeria's greatest challenge. Bags doctoral fellow in leadership. All right, that's what we have on the cover of the Blueprint.
Well, looking forward to the fall in price for petrol.
Everyone is looking forward to that.
Hopefully.
Because once that falls, everything else is supposed to fall. But I don't know, whenever the price of bread goes up, I don't know whenever...
Bread is what you use as your control, yeah?
And then even...
How much is a loaf now?
It depends on the type of loaf you're
150,
buying.
like family loaf.
1,000 naira,
1,000
750.
naira? Okay.
You know, for the rich ones, the ones that...
I'm being informed
There's
quite
no
strictly
750
that
loaf anymore.
there's no 750 loaf.
So bread
Really?
was once considered the poor man's food, but it's not anymore, is it? It was once
750
considered
I don't know if Musa at the gate still has 750. I believe that
Wow.
I buy 750.
750. Nope.
How much is that gege bread? Bro meat. How much is that now?
Wow.
The ones that the ladies
Did-
cut.
Well, the one I know that they sell in the canteen with your beans.
With your beans and your
should be about 200 naira.
sardines,
About
200
200
naira.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. No, that's very interesting. I don't know.
Tiny ones.
Ah, well, hey, look where we are now. We're talking about agege bread. Very interesting, right off of the papers, isn't it? I don't know, this is so
No,
strange.
but if you ever get to interview a government official and you want to know if the person is connected with Nigerians, ask them if they know the price of bread.
I will have that in mind the next time I meet
Yeah.
an official.